Hi, and welcome. I'm Bruce. This is Speed and Color. Two Wheel Sunday is a great motorcycle event held in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Two Wheel Sunday started off, it's one of those shows that I just love. The beginning was so modest, the expectations weren't huge. It was just a bunch of people who wanted to get together and enjoy their motorcycles and talk about them and show them off. And of course, the first year was a success, and it has just taken off ever since then. The event has moved to a different area, not far from where it originated, but an area that offers a little more ambiance. It's a nicer area for the show. Vendors have always supported it really well. It's just one of those deals that's always been really, really good. It's a one-day show, drive in, drive out, lots of fun, really good. I've got the organizers. We are in for some changes this year. I've got the organizers with me, the outgoing organizer, or anyway, he seems to be outgoing, and the new organizer stepping in. And we're going to meet these people, we're going to have a talk with them and find out more about Two Wheel Sunday and where it's headed. So glad you joined me. Come on in, sit down. Let's talk with these people and learn about Two Wheel Sunday. Thanks for watching. Hi there, welcome to another Speed and Color podcast. Today's podcast is one that I was looking forward to. It's going to be a good one. Today's topic is Two Wheel Sunday. Two Wheel Sunday is a local Calgary motorcycle event with a lot of history, been around for a while. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I want my guests to talk about the detail. But Two Wheel Sunday, great event, very well established, and we're going to have a conversation about it. So my guests today for this topic are Mr. Bobby Baum, who is the originator of Two Wheel Sunday. Bobby's been doing this for a while. He is, I believe, he'll tell us about it, but I believe he's stepping aside right now. And we have Charli Handy. And Charli stepped up to take the reins at Two Wheel Sunday, take it over, and I believe is working closely with Bobby right now to get it all figured out and take it over. So we're going to find out where Two Wheel Sunday came from, where it's headed, all that kind of stuff. So let's start with Bobby. Tell us about yourself. I don't know a lot about you outside of Two Wheel Sunday, but where are you from, what do you do for a living, all that kind of stuff.
Well, thanks for having us here, first of all, and talking about Two Wheel Sunday. Personally, I'm from Calgary, born and raised here. Went to school here as well, also Mount Royal College and university as well. My trade is a journeyman millwright by trade. I worked as a journeyman millwright for about 25 years, and then later on I went to work for the University of Calgary, and I was the last 10 years of my career I spent there as a maintenance coordinator for the whole campus, so working with the trades and stuff there. And motorcycles, that side of it, I got into motorcycles in 1967. And it started out with a Suzuki 50, a nice little street bike, a two-stroke bike, and it graduated from there. And so I've been riding continuously since 1967. And so, not to tell you all the bikes I've had, but currently I ride a 2015 Indian Roadmaster and also a 2000 Excelsior Henderson. I have the only one in Alberta. Very, very rare bike. And so going through the whole motorcycle industry, I started the Harley Owners Group here back in 1986-87, and was with that for quite a few years.
I knew that about you, and I just have to ask, which dealership was that back then?
Well, there was one chapter back then, and it worked for both dealerships. At that time, Southern Alberta Harley / Calgary Harley Davidson had the only chapter, and it was 9002, which was the first chapter in Canada. And so at that time, Canes didn't have their own chapter, so Canes and Calgary Harley or Southern Alberta people all worked together in one chapter. So within a year or two, we built it up to 150 members fairly quickly. So, and back in the day, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 female riders back then, and we saw them over the years gradually increase in numbers over the years, right? But it was kind of a rare thing, especially for Harley Davidsons back then, because the clutches were pretty hard to manage, and as the clutches became easier, we saw a lot more women get involved. And then from there, went on to the CVMG, Canadian Vintage Motorcycle Group, Rocky Mountain section in Calgary. I worked with them for quite a few years. Me and the Calgary chapter, we ran the Millerville swap meet along with Greg Williams, the writer from the Herald. He started the swap meet, and so we took the swap meet from about 20 tables up to about 100 tables rather quickly, and did that for quite a few years. Also, I ran Calgary Thursday Bike Night, ran that for quite a few years. And then the Calgary Harley Owners Group, I started the Wayne Rally back in 1987. And we thought we'd get about 500 bikes that year, and I think we got about 1,000, and within a couple of years it multiplied exponentially and became a pretty big event.
Wow. So you have a lot of event experience.
Yes, yeah. And so part of that was, with the CVMG, there's a lot of really good people there, all diverse, whether it's Japanese or British or Harley or whatever. And one of the fellows there I was talking to one day said, would you mind, or do you know a way that we could bring all the motorcycle groups together in one spot, and kind of have not all these separate groups, but get everyone together where we chat and, sort of like a show. And so I took that idea and kind of ran with it, and I passed it through a couple other people, the guys in the Victories group and stuff, and we decided to start Two Wheel Sunday.
Great. Good stuff. So we'll get into that in a second. We'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to just mention too, we are at Ill-Fated Customs today. Jen and Kenny were gracious enough to let us use the what is this? The Prairie Emporium. And we are in a live work environment. The guys are working in the shop, customers are coming through the door. So if you hear some stuff in the background, or you're wondering why we're looking at people in a funny way, or looking off in the distance in a funny way, that's what's going on. Charli.
Yes.
I don't know anything about you.
Perfect.
Well, almost
That's the way I like it.
Almost nothing. So why don't you tell us about yourself, your background, where you're from, what you do, all that kind of stuff.
Well, surprisingly enough, I too was born and raised in Calgary. And I started riding, I think it was 2003. I was trying to figure that out the other day, almost 20 years. And I have been actively involved in a lot of the charity events and so forth that go on. So through the years, and I believe it was a few years ago that I started volunteering with Two Wheel Sunday. I think it was the first one actually. And I was there every year until the last few years. I've been involved with some other events, and just really found a passion. I found my people, for lack of a better word. And I come from a history, a small town history, like I prefer the tighter community, and that's what I find in the motorcycle world. So I became a plumber gas fitter back in 2005, and I have been working trades. I too worked at a trade school, one of the biggest in Calgary here. And it's funny that Bobby and I never met that way. But we have definitely crossed paths, and we have a lot of friends that are in common and so forth. So when I heard that Two Wheel Sunday might be shutting down, I was like, can't happen. Can't happen. It's one of the best events, community-wise, that raises awareness for everybody.
It is.
And I just, yeah, somebody showed me the email and I went, no, not happening. And so I showed up to the next meeting thinking that I could help. And somebody said, no, Charli can run it. A little bit of background, I have done a lot of events behind the scenes. He's prettier, right? So, so he's not going anywhere even though he thinks he is.
Do you want to tell us about some of those events, or would you rather just leave them?
Sure. Some of the events were the toy runs in other cities. Like at that time, I was living out in Brooks.
All motorcycle related?
All motorcycle.
Okay.
I was doing events before I was riding, actually. So, but yeah, I got introduced to them at a very, like I said before, I started riding, and I was just the fender fluff at that point, and I really loved it. And I couldn't go for as many rides as I wanted to. I would sit there with my helmet begging with my little puppy dog eyes and everything. And then one day somebody showed me girls can ride too, and that was the start of my life. That's where I started living. So, yeah.
Great. I'm going to guess that we could probably do another Speed and Color episode on women in the trade.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Actually, I got a whole list of them because we actually ride together.
I imagine you're very supportive of that.
100%. Always have been mentoring women, empowering women. That's what I like. Yes.
Good for you.
Yes. So there are other events and so forth. Some of them are smaller. A lot of them are memorial rides and things like that. We have a rock ride that we do every June. So it'll be fun doing Two-Wheel Sunday. Rock ride up in Bluffton.
What is a rock ride?
Oh, that's a memorial weekend where we remember all the people that we've lost.
Oh, okay.
So June 2nd is Two-Wheel Sunday. June 23rd, or summer solstice, every year is the rock ride. So it's going to be a busy couple months for me. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. So getting back to Two-Wheel Sunday for you, sir. Tell me about the original idea and the original location and how it kind of started off, and the evolution, and how many years this evolution has taken.
Well, it basically started in 2014. The idea was in 2014. In fact, it was at the motorcycle show where it kind of took off after I'd been talking to the fellow from the CVMG. And so talking to some people at the motorcycle show, i.e. Victory Riders, a couple of them that I know quite well, I was talking to them about possibly doing something like that at a street level, a street fair for motorcycles. And they got on board. We had to find some financing and some money to get it off the ground and that. And so we went to Universal Cycle, and we talked to Donnie at Universal Cycle, and said would he be interested, and possibly we could use his street and to start it down there. And then also the CVMG, we talked to them about donating some money, and also the Calgary Motorcycle Club. And so between, and then there was another motorcycle shop that's now gone. So between about the four of them, we raised enough money that we could get Two-Wheel Sunday off the ground. And then we picked a date and said, okay, let's do it in June, do it early, so it's not conflicting with other events and stuff like that. And so we used 3rd A Street, where Donnie's shop, Universal Cycle, is, and we closed off the street by permit with the City of Calgary.
Right.
And then we used one lot there. There was one lot there that was pretty big that we could put a bunch of the vendors on and then still keep the bikes on the street. So kind of a Sturgis style event where motorcycles only go through one way, and then they can park on the sides, and then we had the vendors off to the sides as well. So I think, I don't know, I'm guessing now we probably had about 30 vendors that first year, so we did pretty good.
I remember those days, because that street, that little loop in there, has a lot of motorcycle shops.
Yeah, Yeah.
And there used to be shops like Lucid right around
Yeah,
the corner.
exactly.
It was a great vibe. It was really good. But for me, eventually it seemed like it had outgrown the space. It was
Yeah.
getting pretty congested and
Yeah, it did pretty quickly, because the first year we had it, we're just guesstimating, how many bikes can we get down here and stuff. And, we thought, wow, if we got 500 bikes, we're doing well. And if we got 800 bikes, we're doing just crazy, And I think, a guesstimate is we did probably around 3,000 the first year.
Wow.
So, and we had a show and shine there, and we had vendors and stuff, and there was lots of excitement for, people of Calgary, and all these groups coming together, whether you're the scooter guys or whether you're the Harley owners group or whether you're the vintage guys, they're all there. So you got to see bikes on the street that you just don't see all year round, that people are willing to bring them out for that one day. And so, and you got to think about it for the younger crowd. There's people that have never seen a bike that you have to kickstart, if you can imagine that, and so, and bikes with carburetors, and bikes with magnetos that you gotta, advance the magneto to, so it's all cool stuff, And so from there, we lasted at that location for a couple of years, and in fact, I think it was the second year we're there. We had an FXR show at the end of the street. And that was covered by Hot Bike Magazine.
okay.
And so quite a few FXRs were there. And
So when you say an FXR show, a static show, or was there stunting involved? Or?
No, we've kept it all pretty clean with Tuvo Sendi for insurance reasons. There's no stunting or anything like that. No, and the show is it's exactly that. It's static. So we had bikes there. The Mad Jap Customs, he organized the FXR side of it. And we had bikes come from as far away as Phoenix and some from California and just all over the place. And he did a good job of organizing that end of it, and as well as bringing in Hot Bike Magazine. And so we're quite chuffed about that, how well it went. But the street was definitely packed that year. We knew our time was up in that street. So we started looking for a new location.
And that new location is?
It's over on 5th Street Northeast. It's behind the Indian dealer and across the creek from Edmonton Trail. So it's pretty centralized over there, and it's a big site. It goes from 42nd Avenue to 46th Avenue. So, but in total length, it's well over a kilometer long, probably about a kilometer and a quarter, something like that. And so we have all this boulevard, and there's, probably 100 feet of boulevard that we can use that's all grassed. And then plus the property there, all the industrial property across the street was owned by one family, the Polkar family. And we made arrangements with them to use all their building sites and their parking lots and everything, and they supported us fully. And so in 2000, I think it was 16 or 17 that we went over to that site, and so, and been there since.
And I'll tell you, I enjoyed the original location because of the motorcycle shops, the involvement, the community that was there. But the new location with the grass and everything is way better. I don't know if you've ever been out to Radium for the car show out there. It happens on the grass on the golf course. For a few years, Gatesbury did their car show on the golf course. There's something that's really nice about being on a grass surface.
Yeah.
It shows things well, it's comfortable, it's great for the vendors. It really is a good deal. So I'm a big fan of the new location, or current location. I guess it's not that new anymore, but
yeah. But that's where it came in, is that we wanted a place that was big, where everyone could be comfortable, like you say. We could have the bikes on the street, we could have the vendors off to the side a bit, people could walk through. It was safe for you to walk there, it was safe for your kids to walk there. And the nice part about it is that it's different from going to a motorcycle show, because here you have all the bikes here, they're coming in, you see them, you smell them, you taste them, you feel them, it's all the senses are alive right then, and so that's the cool part, And just seeing the bikes pull up, and that's kind of where Charli came in many years ago, is that there was a lot to organizing this, and so Charli was helping us out with the traffic control, helping the guys park the bikes. And it's nice to have someone on the street that people recognize and that they can trust to help them park their bikes and get to the right spot and all that. So that's kind of where it's at.
So
it's
put
just
a number on it for me, because I know we had the crazy pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So what year is this for Two Wheel Sunday?
This is number 10.
Is it number 10?
Yeah, even though we had a pandemic for 2 years, the day after Two Wheel Sunday ends is the day we start the permit process for the next year. And it takes 364 and a half days to get that permit through for the next year. So even though it's a pandemic, we still have to start the application and go through the whole process. And so unfortunately, during the pandemic, we still went through the whole process, and it came down to the wire where finally the government or the city said you couldn't have any event of that type during there. So and we've had one rainout actually, so there's 3 years where we didn't have Two Wheel Sunday. We're all set there, we're ready to go, and the rain was just too hard, and we just felt it wasn't safe for everyone to be there, even on the grass, walking around. So.
And that's part of the problem with grass, is that excessive rain can cause an issue, and it rained hard that year.
Yeah. And so the thing is, Two Wheel Sunday, we still have to pay for the city permit for the street closure. That's, up. I'll just round it off at $2,000, and we still have to pay for the insurance. We still have to porta potties, and all these other things that, radios. We have radios and stuff like that we have to rent a PA system, and so we still have to pay for all those goodies, right? So there is a cost to doing it, and we've tried to keep Two Wheel Sunday at entry level for everybody at $50 a spot for all these years, and try and keep it economical, so even the small garage guy could afford to be there, or a person, it could be someone that has a shop, someone that makes something that's relative to motorcycle stuff, and so we want them to be there. And there's even a few people through the pandemic, and we know they were pretty tight for money, and we said, hey, we want you to be there, and if you can't afford a spot, we'll give you a spot, and that's between you and I, and that's your spot, and no one's to know the difference, right? So we want you there. We want you to succeed.
So Charli, you stepped up, and you told us a little bit about that. What's the plan? What are you doing? Is this year just getting through it, or are you looking to change some things? Where are you at?
So we want to stick to the mission. We want to stick to the mission where we're promoting the smaller, the larger, the manufacturer, and the little guys, the big guys. We want everybody out this year supporting our mission. And if we do that, I would love to see it grow. I would love to see it grow. So some of these things we're going to leave everything exactly the same, in as much as the vendors are coming in, the food trucks will be there, the show and shine, the volunteers, the people. We're going to leave all of that the same.
Okay.
But we're hoping to bring more people in, people that don't necessarily ride, but have an interest, that want to bring their families into it. If we start with the kids, it's going to grow the industry. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of my little passions that we've talked about, is making sure that the kids are entertained as well. And nobody better be licking bikes. That's all I gotta say. We're not insured for that. So. But I think it's important that we stress that this is a family-friendly event.
Right.
It's not just for riders, it's for everybody. And bringing the city, bringing interested parties, bringing people from out of province and out of Canada would be a really great way to do that, I believe. So growing it is what we'd like to do. We've got a few surprises that we're tweaking, and I can't tell you about that yet, but yeah, you'll have to be there.
Cool. So how are you going to reach out? If you want to grow it, that's a pretty big challenge, because it's a pretty successful event. And I will say that in terms of events, what I have observed in my time is events typically don't start out great. They start out small with a good idea. Friday the 13th would be one.
Yeah.
That was 5 guys deciding to get together on Friday the 13th. And look where it is now. Two Wheel Sunday, your idea was really solid and you were successful the first year. But it was a grassroots kind of idea, and it has grown from there. I've seen other people try and start events, and they try to start with charities and bouncy tents and so much stuff that it can't ever live up to the expectations that they set for it. So understanding that your event is very successful with a lot of bikes. How many bikes last year?
We're just guessing. We're figuring north of 8,000. And
Okay.
yeah, we probably could have done 10,000 last year, but I think because of the pandemic, the news was a little bit weak in getting out to some of the areas, and people were still a little bit,
So then there's my question to you is, how do you reach out to more people? What's your plan?
So we have this new fabulous thing called social media, right? And for us old people, it's a little struggle, but we do have some younger people that are coming on to help us. We actually have a promotional marketing agency that's come in as one of our sponsors. Are we allowed to say?
yeah, sure, CPG.
CPG, and they have been fabulous with getting that stuff out and so forth.
And CPG, local company, what does CPG stand for? Can you give us any?
You got me on the spot here without having my phone open here, but it's a company owned by Andrew Gowers, who's a longtime motorcycle guy within Calgary, and he's been through the industry and he knows the people. He knows the people well, and so part of that is he started this company up. He's got a graphic side to the company. He has a media side to it. There's an accounting side. It's many faceted. So he's covered quite a few bases. And part of what they do is they'll go to a motorcycle shop, for instance, and if the motorcycle shop is finding a little bit of difficulty in getting their business promoted and stuff like that, he'll help them fine tune it and get it off the ground and get it going really well. And he's got a few motorcycle shops in Calgary that are doing well because of his company. So having known Andrew for quite a while, we talked a bit back and forth, because one of the issues we had with Two Wheel Sunday is trying to keep accounting people and keep it continuity, and we've had some really good people help us out, but unfortunately Gail, our current accountant, she lives up in Buck Lake and she's moving, and so tried to find someone that could do the accounting for us, and Andrew stepped up to the plate and said, well, there's many things I can help you with. So that's kind of where it's at with him.
Big shout out to CPG.
Yeah, no, great guys.
And CPG, if you're looking for some pro bono work, speed and color, and Gail's awesome.
Gail. Yeah.
She's been with you. Has she been there since year one?
Yeah, day one. She was one of the first people I reached out to when I started Two Wheel Sunday. Is I tried to find in women's groups first before I found anybody else, and she was part of Women in the Wind. And then there was a couple other groups around at the time. I think they've all kind of gone their own ways, but she was one of the first. And then along came some of the other groups, like I say, the vintage guys and the Harley guys and stuff like that. And it's worked out well.
So shout out to Gail.
Thanks, Gail
I'd
Lane.
also like to do a shout out to everybody that's ever been involved in Two Wheel Sunday and gotten it to this point, especially Bobby.
Yeah.
Because without our volunteers, we have nothing, right? And that's what this is about, is building a community. So if you're looking for something to do this year.
Is your team of volunteers pretty much intact? Do we have a lot of people back this year? Is it pretty good.
I think it's pretty much all new. One or two people.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and that unfortunately Charlie's is going to be on the ropes on that one this year because a lot of the people, the groups kind of, went into the background, and one of the biggest volunteer groups we had was the Goldwing Road Riders, for instance, right? And unfortunately that group folded across North America, just bang, and they were gone. So they were trying to reclaim their ground, and they've now reinvented themselves in Alberta anyway as the Alberta Road Riders. So we're hoping to see some of those people come back and some of the other groups, come back. We've got pretty good coverage from all the different little groups as well. And so we're hoping that we can get some more volunteers. And so leaving that with Charlie to try and organize.
Great, good.
How's it going, Charlie?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That part's not the hard part.
I'm curious about the social media and stuff. Do you want to share any of your social media accounts or platforms with us? And where should people be watching? I guess, and that leads to a question I had here for you anyway, is where do people continue to get information about Two Wheel Sunday?
So we do have a website. That would be where you find the applications. That would be finding out, the maps, and we're going to possibly put your podcast on there and so forth. But for up to the minute, I would think that the Facebook page right now is a really good plan. Two Wheel Sunday. And what we're hoping to do, and I've already started planning these things, is promote some of our vendors and smaller businesses and so forth. So a spotlight on each vendor. So it's a little bit of extra promotion for you and everything. It creates engagement, and people may or may not find out about some of the things that isn't in the telephone book, that type of advertising, putting a face to the business itself. And I think a more personal approach with the spotlights is a really good idea.
Right.
And again, it's building the community.
Cool. You don't have to register for Two Wheel Sunday, correct, as a participant?
No, it's free.
It's just a drive up.
Yeah, it's our claim to fame. We're a free motorcycle event in Calgary, and we're I guess whatever it is now, $18 cheaper than the Calgary Motorcycle Show, and our parking is free, so another $18 you saved there, and so now you've got enough money you can buy a hamburger or a hot dog off of one of the food vendors that we have there. Last year we had 5 food trucks, and they were busy.
A good idea to also buy something that supports Two Wheel Sunday as well as our vendors. So swag.
And what will there be for swag this year?
I think we have some T-shirts.
We definitely have T-shirts. We always have patches. And I just actually sat down with some ladies yesterday, and we were talking about some ideas. So we'll have that planned out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Some new stuff.
Good. The participants, free, no registration, that's easy. What about vendors?
Vendors can get their application in online, or we covered a lot of people at the motorcycle show too, as well as word of mouth and so forth. The first thing we did was go to our previous vendors. That was the very first day, because we want to invite them back. And so with that, the vendors' applications are starting to roll in, and that's...
So we are open for that process right now.
We are open for vendors, we are open for sponsors, we are open for volunteers.
And we still have room for Speed and Color to have a vendor booth.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we do. That's a great idea.
It could be arranged.
I might have an application with me.
You better leave it with me, yeah.
But yeah, I encourage you to get your applications in, and then you'll receive a letter that approves you. We want to make sure that we're not doing all of the same thing, that we kind of space it out. We have as many representatives in the community as possible.
Are we limited on vendor booths? Vendor booths are 10 by 10?
10 by 10.
10.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a cap on them at 3.
Almost 3
Well,
person, but how many in total?
That's a good question, because every year Two-Wheel Sunday morphs a little bit with different vendors and different requirements for those vendors, and so and then also the city has kind of confined us on the property a little bit. They came and they told us that the north end of our property was a bird life sanctuary, even though somebody's been cutting the grass there every year, and I don't know how that works with the bird life, but anyway. But so we have to follow the rules that the city's engaged us with, and we have quite literally. So the whole event has kind of moved a little bit to the south and around the corner to a newer lot and building that we started using last year. So that lot has a lot of potential. We still have the ability to go across the street to the lots across the street and use them as well. So I'm just saying it's morphing. So we don't know exactly how many, but we've had north of 100 at one time, 110 a couple of years ago. We had 110 vendors. So, and we could probably easily, pop in 120 with no problem at all.
Sounds like you'll find space for people.
We'll make it work. Yeah, we'll make it work. We don't want to turn anybody away.
Right.
Unless they're not motorcycle related. That's all. We just want to keep it relative to.
I think data mapping will also help that, so that we can streamline and nobody's getting blocked off and everybody's getting representative and foot access.
Right.
That will help.
Right. Good. So looking for volunteers, no need for participants to register, and vendor process is open. And cost for vendors?
Cost this year is $75 before May 15th. And $100 after. Our food truck, I believe, is $150. We've kept that the same.
And food trucks, you're wide open.
We're using one company that was organizing the food trucks,
Okay.
so that we knew they were all approved and we didn't have to go through the process of approving them. So that was easy for us. So one lady that runs this company brings the food trucks in and has brought us a nice variety of food trucks. The only thing we did with the food trucks is that we spaced them out a bit so that there was good opportunity for them throughout the event, and we'll see how that works this year. But definitely all the food vendors did well last year, I can tell you that.
Good. Yeah. It was a good year last year.
No, it was.
And the weather rocked.
Oh,
it
God,
did.
it's so hot.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
I had to sit under a tree all day.
Oh, that's what I was going to mention too, just so nobody gets surprised. Requirements for vendor tents. Because I know the fire department has been on them in the last couple of years, and there were some issues at the motorcycle show. And so just so everybody knows ahead of time, do you have those specs off the top of your head?
Yeah, all the tents have to be fire rated, Canadian code rated, CSC, top of my head, CSC something or other. But they have to be rated. And because of Two-Wheel Sunday, the way it works is we have a building inspector show up to check the tents from the city of Calgary. That's part of our closure street process. And so the building inspector shows up, and you have to have at least 40 pounds of dead weight on each corner of those tents. And so it has to be lead or weight or whatever you have that you can put on the corner of the tents. We have some pails. We have, I don't know, probably 300 pails that we can fill with water and tie those to each post if people show up without them. And there's people that have showed up without the weights. And so last year we had one lady go through that was a volunteer for Two-Wheel Sunday, and she checked all the tents along with the building inspector to make sure that they're all properly balanced. There was only one tent that wasn't meeting the requirements of the time, and so we had people over there fix it up, and then they passed us. It was one of the smoothest years we've had dealing with the building inspector, and so they're working with us, right?
And it is 40 pounds per leg.
Yeah.
Typical 10 by 10s are going to have 4 legs. The
Yeah.
10 by 20s have 6.
Yeah.
So it is 40 pounds
Yeah.
on all 6.
All of them, yeah. And there's no spikes in the ground. You can't use spikes. Yeah. Well, there's two sides to that. There's the city property, and then there's the property that we're using because that has irrigation underneath. So there's a quick run to one tent there last year where someone was about to put in a spike, and I pretty near did a cartwheel all the way over there. because they could easily do $4,000 worth of damage, if they spiked an irrigation line. So anyway, yeah, no, well, that's okay.
Speaking of insurance requirements for vendors during an inspection.
We ask that they have their own personal insurance, but we do have our insurance that covers the grounds.
Okay, good. All right.
So loss.
Yeah, so that was one of the wins for us. We went through the National Automobile Car Collector Club of Canada, and we picked up their insurance a couple of years ago, and through them we're able to insure our event year-round. Even though we're only one day, we're still covered. So if we go to the motorcycle show, we're covered. If we go to someone else's show, we're covered. And then plus our street and the properties are all covered for by city requirements for $5 million insurance.
Okay, good. So, Bobby, you're around for this year? Are you helping out? Charlie's yeah, he is.
Yeah, no.
He says no, but
No, I'm still here and helping out and trying to mentor the process through and all that. And it's just that after 10 years, I needed to take a little bit of a step back and try and enjoy the show myself this year, and and walk around and talk to people because I like doing that.
After this year, you are trying to ride off into the sunset and kind of step away.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Because I started the show, and so it's still has my name tagged onto it, but
chat with Wendy.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. No, I guess I'm still at the point. I just want to see it succeed and go forward. So that's where I'm at, and there's been other people involved with this. Don Morberg, for instance, who did our communication stuff for many years, and he's got a deep interest with the Victory Owners Group and stuff like that. So. And Gail, of course, and all the people that were with Two Wheel Sunday. So we like to just see it succeed. So I don't know if you ever say I'll ever totally walk away, but I'll be there in some way, helping out get vendors or whatever, because I like talking to all the new guys. So
for me, I want to say, so that we don't miss it here, thank you for everything you've done. Not just with Two Wheel Sunday, but all the clubs and groups and events before that. But Two Wheel Sunday, you've done a masterful job. It's an excellent event, and I think I speak for the whole community when I say thank you for all your efforts. And for you, young lady, thank you for stepping up, because it's important. It's a great event, and I know it was a little shaky there for a couple of weeks as to who was going to step up, and I really appreciate that you've done it.
thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. And we're not changing enough that Bobby can't still come back all the time.
There you go.
We're going to do a little parade with him down the street.
Is there anything we missed that you guys would like to mention, go over? Now's the time.
I want to stress that it will always remain a family-friendly event, that it is open to the public, and we encourage everybody to bring your friends. It is wheelchair accessible, so you can bring young, old, disabled. It doesn't matter. We want to open it to everybody because we do a lot of charity work, or a lot of the riders do charity work, and those pieces, seeing those faces that we support so heavily come down and see what we do.
Right.
Is one of the important pieces. So family friendly, just it's open to everybody. So we want to get the city out.
That's really
The whole
good. Thank
city.
you for bringing that up. That's great.
And that's a good point while she's on that, as far as being a great event, even if you're handicapped to be there. We have Vince Aiello from Calgary, Indian, who's sponsored us for many years, and he's brought out an ATV that he tours around with the ATV, and he helps us deliver stuff and stuff like that. But once the people start coming in, he can pick up people in the ATV and then drop them off and then take them back to their car if they need and stuff. So that's been a great help. So we've had some people that were elderly that couldn't move that well, and he was able to get them in and off the property safely. So
Vince is a great guy. Shout out to Vince and to Cycle Works.
yes.
And the Indian dealership. I don't know what name name it goes under, but
Indian.
here's a little history for Charli, because I think I've told Bobby before, but years ago, and I'm gonna guess probably 25, maybe 30 years ago, Vince used to build my race engines for
Oh,
my
no
drag
way.
car.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about that, because that's a whole other
Tell me
story.
that story, but yeah, we go back a ways, Vince and I, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. All right.
Can I give a shout out to Fresh Start too? For the last few
Absolutely.
years, they have provided our volunteers, and they've been invaluable. Like helping get the grounds ready and picking up the garbage and all of that stuff that we need. They've been invaluable. So I want to give a
We
shout out to them.
appreciate them as motorcyclists and love to have them there.
Yeah. Robbie Sidhu from Fresh Start.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's very kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's changed this year. So.
Yeah, but no, it's helped, and so that's great. So they like she says, they helped us get the property ready, and then plus they helped set up the whole property last year. It was great.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of that. And as we're winding down, now we get to have a little fun. There's something we do on the Speed and Color podcast that we call the rapid fire round.
Oh,
So I have a series of questions here, just so everybody can get to know you a little bit better, and it might stimulate some conversation, good or bad. But you ready?
me?
You ready for this?
Give her.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and it's to both of you, and I would like to get an answer from both of you, if that's okay. So first off, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping secrets? Charli, you can go first.
8.
Okay. Bobby?
5.
I appreciate your honesty. What is your favorite animal? Charli?
Oh, I have a new one. I was at the Wildlife Festival last weekend, and there is this porcupine with the squishiest nose, and he's so cute. But porcupines
Okay.
have become my new favorite.
Bobby?
Well, it's got to be our pet English bulldog, Penny.
Okay. Yeah, English Bulldogs, is that what Steve Rover has as well?
Yeah, and in fact, our dog's related to his dogs. They're all from the same
Oh,
breed,
that's how that happened.
same breeder, Yeah.
Okay. We'll give this one to Bobby first. Popcorn or Twizzlers?
Twizzlers. Yeah. Yeah.
Neither. Popcorn and Swiss.
Popcorn twist. Okay. All right. We'll let you get away with that one.
Okay.
Bobby, what word do you hate hearing?
Oh God, that's I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yes, it is.
I got it.
I get to ask.
I think I'm more into I don't like the phrase you got to think outside the box, because I think people take that out of context and they go way out of their way to think outside the box. I think you got to think inside the box. That's kind of what Two Wheel Sunday is all about, is what can we do with what we have to make it better, right? So I like to think inside the box.
Can't.
There you go.
I as soon as somebody tells me I can't do it, hold my beer. It's the next question. Watch me.
What do you collect?
Like any motorcycle owner, motorcycle parts. Anything to do, leather. I'll just leave it at that. Leather. Anything leather.
Bobby?
Well, it's definitely been motorcycles for sure. That over the years, from Royal Enfield Interceptors to Matchless to
How many do you got right now?
well, I'm down to. I should say we're down to 2.
We
We've had we had a couple Royal Enfield Interceptors that we built from scratch, and a Matchless, and a few other bikes along the way, and now we're down to one Excelsior Henderson and the Indian. So keeping it simple.
Describe your style in one word.
Bulldog.
Okay.
What style are we talking about? That could apply in many different ways. I like that answer.
Well, that's all right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sociable, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're flipping back to Bobby here. Do you consider yourself tech savvy?
Oh God, that's a good question because technology is changing so fast. So, am I keeping up with the technology? You know, somewhat, but you know, not as much as the younger people. You know, it's. I remember being at the university and having a problem with my iPhone and taking it into the tech guy, and another guy came in at the same time with a problem with his phone, and the guy sat there and programmed 2 phones and kept up a conversation with us while he was programming the phones. I'm going, oh my God, you know. So, could I do that? No. Yeah, so that's my tech savvy.
I'm going to give it a 7. There's always room for growth.
Yes, but you're pretty good.
I think so. I'm not afraid.
You're not afraid.
Not afraid.
Great. How many languages do you speak?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, 2. I speak English and I also speak Cantonese.
Oh, really?
I went to Chinese school for 3 years in Calgary, and because we had a pretty big Chinatown back when I was younger, and then back in the day before 7-Elevens really took place, a lot of the corner stores were Chinese people, and so I had a good place to practice it, and so I still do. You know, I go out to the Chinese restaurants and I eavesdrop and then I talk and then the room goes quiet.
Oops.
Charlie?
I would say 1, 1.25. English, French, and Spanish.
Okay. Spanish.
More of the Spanish because I want to. Yes, yes, for traveling.
Good.
Live on the beach.
Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
Oh God. Can I go back and buy Microsoft shares? I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough question. I guess, you know, it'd probably be easier to go back to the past, but it'd be very interesting to go to the future. That's a tough call.
So you don't have a real answer for us?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Charlie?
I'd like my body to be in the past for sure, but I don't think I'd want to go to the future.
No.
No, I kind of like where I'm at today.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
So here's another good one. Are you an observational learner or an experiential learner?
Experiential.
Yeah, that's another tough one for me. I'm an observer for sure, but yeah, the hands-on part of it is where I learn. You know, especially being a millwright. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Are
you more cautious or bold?
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have to say, I'm bold and, you know, willing to take some chances. So, yeah.
I would say I'm cautious to a point, and then it's bold.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to kind of pay attention first. If it's going to hurt, I'm not going there.
And finally, what motivates you?
People.
People.
People. Empowering people.
Bobby?
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. I like, I don't know. I like succeeding at doing things and having people learn from it. So I guess that's part of Charlie's answer, empowering people. I like to learn from other people too. You know, having been in the trades, I never took for granted that I couldn't learn something from a newbie or a first-year apprentice, which I've learned quite a few things from the newbies. So.
Right. Well, that's great. That's it. You're off the hot seat now.
We're off the hot seat?
Yeah. So
That went by
we
fairly
are pretty much wrapped up. your social media platforms, did we give your account names or handles? Is it?
No, but what we
Antonio
could do
Sunday?
is I could give you a little flyer and it's all on there.
And I'll edit it on
And
to
then throw it in there.
video.
Yeah. Do you want the digital copy of it then?
Yeah, send me whatever.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
do something on the video. So,
Okay.
I want to say thank you, both of you. This has been great. Looking forward to a great two-wheel Sunday this year. If there's anything I can do to help out, you know how to get a hold of me.
I do.
Yeah, you
I
do.
do.
Yeah. Shout out again to Ill Fated Customs, Jen and Kenny. Absolutely great making this place available for us. For Speed and Color, we're on your favorite podcast platform. We're on YouTube at Speed and Color, A-N-D, and Color is K-O-L-O-R. We're on Instagram, so you can keep up. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all of that. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
was that all right?
Wasn't as painful as I was thinking.